Picture this. A cat. A rather determined cat. He has a plan. A very, very clever plan. It involves a giant anvil, a rope, a tiny, smug mouse. The mouse is nibbling cheese, completely oblivious. The cat, perched high on a branch, cuts the rope. He expects a satisfying thump. But things rarely go as planned, do they? The anvil doesn't just fall. It hovers in the air for a moment, almost politely. It waits for the cat to look down, confused. Then, with a whistle and a whiz, it drops. Not on the mouse, oh no. It lands squarely on the cat. He doesn't yelp. He doesn't cry. He simply flattens, like a pancake. This isn't a scene of tragedy. This is a masterpiece of mayhem. A ridiculous ballet where gravity is a suggestion and the main performer is a very squishy cat. So, what is the secret recipe for these hilarious tussles? What makes them funny instead of frightening? It's a special kind of magic, a perfect blend of key ingredients. First, you have the exaggeration. Everything is bigger. Everything is bolder. Everything is more bonkers. A bump becomes a throbbing purple melon, with tiny birds chirping a jaunty tune. Next, the complete lack of real consequences. A steamroller? Minor inconvenience? You simply peel yourself off the pavement. Blown up? You're temporarily blackened, hair on end, eyes wide and white. No one truly gets hurt. This safety net lets us laugh freely, guilt-free. It's all a game. Then there are the silly weapons. Not serious, scary things, but giant mallets from thin air, cream pies, and banana peels. A frying pan lands with a satisfying clang, and a head briefly shaped like a pan. Finally, it's seasoned with silly sound effects. Boinks, bonks, sproings, and splats. A punch lands with a comical pow, not a thud. A fall gets a descending whistle, followed by a distant poof. These sounds punctuate slapstick. They make sure we never take it seriously. It's a symphony of nonsense, every note tuned for laughter. And we laugh because the rules here promise safety, silliness, and swift recovery. Let us now take a closer look at the classic tools of the trade. The oversized mallet. Where do they come from? Nobody knows. A character gets angry, reaches back, suddenly wielding a hammer the size of a car. The swing is art, a slow, deliberate arc with a whistling whoosh. The target's eyes become dinner plates. They try to run, feet spinning, and then bonk. Never gory, often a vibrate like a tuning fork moment. Or they're driven into the ground like a tent peg, feet wiggling. Surprising, not scary. Another classic, the pratfall. The bright yellow villain lies innocently as someone pompous strides by. They don't see it. We do. We wait. 1 foot lands. Physics overreacts. Both feet fly. The body goes horizontal. A split second of pure shock. Then a jumble of limbs and a crash like a drum kit downstairs. A hollow thunk or a loud thwump. They slide across the room, toppling a precarious tower of china. Total, undignified disarray. We laugh, not at pain, but at pomposity deflated by a simple peel. The visual gags are only half the story. The soul of the cartoon Brawl lies in its sound. Close your eyes and listen. A mad orchestra playing a symphony of silliness. Every action engineered for maximum funny. Tiptoeing doesn't go soft. It goes plink, plonk, plink. That tells us. Not serious. A frying pan isn't a dull thud. It's a resonant clang. The head rings. Birds tweet accompaniment. A zap goes bzz zap. The skeleton lights like neon. Movement speaks too. Ver ver ver, then zoom or whoosh, then screech to a halt. Silence can be funniest. Run off a cliff, hang in midair. Everything goes quiet. The music stops. A tiny gulp. Then a long descending whistle. Whee! Cut off by a little poof. Anti-climax as punchline. These sounds defy logic, but are essential. They paint a picture for our ears. Without them, a chase feels empty. Ah, the pie in the face. Is there any more noble, more hilarious form of cartoon combat? It's the great equalizer. The most powerful, the most arrogant, the most serious, all undone by a perfect pastry crust, filled with fluffy cream, sometimes a cherry on top. The throw is pure poetry. Slow motion, a pie sailing, spinning, on a collision course with an important-looking face mid-speech. We know what's coming. We hold our breath, grinning. And then, the splat. A clean, satisfying sound. The head completely creamed, features obscured, eyes blink through. A cherry balanced on the nose. Frozen. Dignity destroyed. They slowly wipe a bit of cream, taste it. Lemon meringue. Before the rage kicks in or a silent shudder passes. The ultimate insult, but clean. Pure humiliation, no pain. That's why it stays endlessly funny. What would a cartoon be without a good chase? A very boring cartoon, that's what. The chase is the engine, a frantic dash that propels gag after gag. One character, clever, stays a few steps ahead. The other, determined, dim-witted, always falls for every trap. The path is never straight. It weaves through houses, leaves character-shaped holes, zips across roads. Cars screech and pile up. The clever one runs through a painted tunnel. The pursuer slams into it and slides down like a floppy poster. Expressions are priceless. The pursued glances back, gives a wave, sticks out their tongue, speeds off with a sound cue or a mischievous giggle. The pursuer strains, tongue hanging out, eyes wild, legs a circular blur. The chase never truly ends, only pauses when flattened by a train or tricked off a cliff. Desire returns, revenge, or a tasty meal. The endless cycle is oddly comforting. The coyote fails, then returns with a new ACME plan. Persistence amid catastrophic failure, endlessly amusing. The chase is the point, and it goes on forever. The single most important rule: nobody really gets hurt. A character can be squashed, stretched, electrocuted, blown to smithereens, and be fine in the next shot. They don't bleed. They don't break bones. They react in impossible ways. An anvil makes a living accordion, playing a sad little tune as they expand and contract. A steamroller turns you paper thin, fluttering in the breeze. Absurd becomes playful, not painful. It's cheerful optimism. The cat keeps chasing. The coyote orders a new rocket and tries again. They shake off annihilation like dust and get back to their rivalry. A piano falls. Worst case, teeth become piano keys for a tiny tune. A world without lasting pain. A comforting playground where extreme actions have mild consequences. Why do these scenes bring so much joy? They tap a pure part of us, laughing when someone important slips on a banana peel. Real life demands sense, care, composure, and consequence. Cartoons throw out the rules and invite us to revel in anarchy. It's a safe way to enjoy chaos, a controlled explosion of silliness. For a few minutes, we can laugh at the nonsensical, no deep thought required, just funny. These gags cross generations and borders. A grandfather and grandchild laugh at the same anvil. A frying pan to the head is funny in any language. Shared laughter connects us with harmless, goofy fun. Rivals, not enemies. Their conflict is a game, a dance they perform forever. There's affection in endless one-upmanship. Not every conflict must be serious. Sometimes, the best way to deal with rivals or frustration is a sense of play and generous ridiculousness. It's a tradition of chuckles passed down through the years, rooted in playfulness. In the end, what can we learn from a cat flattened by an anvil or a rabbit tricking a hunter off a cliff? Perhaps the lesson is wonderfully simple. These brawls aren't about pies and mallets, they're about resilience and finding humor in failure, a celebration of the absurd. When plans fail, imagine peeling off the pavement, shaking back into shape, and getting ready for the next scene. A setback sets up the next gag, the next attempt, the next chance to laugh at ourselves. So when a character gets blasted and emerges blackened but fine, applaud the glorious stupidity. It's not about the fighting, it's about the laughing, and the certainty you can pop back up after every bonk, splat, and hearty chuckle. And that's all, folks.